if you can see us, please bear with us for a moment as we make sure that technology is working. This is our first time doing a live stream, so we might not have this working properly yet. So just give us a moment.
I'm just checking. Waiting. Okay. I'm just checking my iPad and I'm checking the YouTube channel just because I want to see what's going on.
Yeah, still says waiting. Why does it still say waiting?
Upcoming, it says.
Is it coming up?
Oh, I see it.
I
see it on my laptop, but I don't see it on my iPad. So let's see what's going on here. Oh, yeah, it's working now. Now it's on my iPad. It's on my iPad and it's on my computer.
Awesome. Is there meant to be sound? There is meant to be sound. If you can hear us or if you cannot, then drop in the chat. This is our first time doing a live stream, so we're still kind of figuring out the technology. So please bear with us for a moment as we make sure everything is working. Terry says, I see and hear you both. Yay, we see and hear you all. So it's working.
I also got a notification on my phone that said, watch live now, Scribe Forge.
Yay, we did it.
Awesome.
So welcome to the first ever Scribe Forge live write-ins. And thank you for bearing with us while we figured out the technology for a few minutes. So today we are going to answer some of your questions about writing, publishing, and the creative process. Then you're going to set our writing goal, and we're all going to write together for 40 minutes or so. Then we're going to come back, share our progress, and celebrate what we've accomplished today. So I'm Eva Delaney. I am a USA Today best-selling author of space opera and paranormal romance. And I'm also one of the authors behind Scribe Forge. If you read our emails or if you've ever contacted us, you've spoken to me. So here at Scribe Forge, we make tools to help you write fantasy and sci-fi novels. And our guidebooks are kind of like mentors for your writing journey, kind of like a Gandalf or an Obi-Wan for your writing journey, but without the leaving you to die by a lava river part of Obi-Wan, just like the good part. So today we have a special guest here to help answer some of your questions. Candice, do you care to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, I am Candice Lee Macaulay, and I am a creativity facilitator. That means I hold workshops that help people break through the creative blocks that are stopping them from taking action on their creative passion projects. I also work one-on-one with people to bring those projects to life. I know there are a lot of people who see others achieving that creative dream that they've always wanted. You see other people publishing their books and you think, oh, that should be me, or, what if I had just, and I know that's a really terrible feeling. And so I have a saying, don't be envious, be next.
Nice.
Yes. So I am also a best-selling author. I also run my own e-com store selling affirmation books. I'm an amateur music producer, so all of my entire life is based around creativity. I think I've published around 25 books at this point, but I've been doing it for about 10 years, so you can do the math. So yeah, I love to combine the mindset part, like breaking through creativity and breaking through creative blocks, and the productivity part, actually sitting down and getting it done. And so that's what we are here to do today. I get it done, and I help other people get it done too.
And she really does. She has helped me get many things done, including some books. So to start off, we are going to answer a few questions that you guys submitted beforehand. The first one is going to be for Candice. Let me show it on the screen. So how do you get past imposter syndrome? And I know a lot of us authors have that, especially if you have no formal training in writing or literature studies.
So I have a couple fun little anecdotes. So the first one I like to always say is, think of the worst book you ever read. Like the book that you just went, oh, I can't believe this got published. Guess what? That terrible book still got published. So no matter how terrible you think your writing is, I guarantee you someone out there is more terrible than you. If that consoles you at all. I also have a stat. There are 1.5 million working adults with an English degree in the US as of 2023. So about 1.5 million people in the US have an English degree. There are 40 million books on Amazon. About half of those are in English. So let's say about 20 million English language books. So only 1.5 million people have an English degree, but 20 million books have been published. So you can just kind of do the math and say most of those people do not have English degrees. So, I mean, I hope that helps.
Anything else for getting over imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I just want people to know that you do not have to have a clean first draft. If you're writing and you think, oh, that's a terrible sentence, or oh, this is so cliche, that's okay. Like, it's not meant to be great the first time out. Your first novel is going to be pretty bad, and even your first few drafts might not be all that good. But the only real way to get over that is just to continue writing and continue practicing. The more you practice something, the better you get at it. And writing is the exact same as any other skill or any other muscle you need to work. Just do more of it and you'll get better at it.
Awesome. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a bit of writing so you can get better at it. So another question we had come in, I think I'll take this one, is how do you streamline world building so it's not just a whole bunch of info dumps in your story? So I have a lot of thoughts, but I'll try to be brief with this. So I think there's two parts. And the first is the world building you do behind the scenes. So this is kind of like the details you figure out for your own benefit to help you write the story. And for this, I mean, you can do it forever. You can world build the same world for the rest of your life and still find new things to add and new things to change. It can like be your entire hobby on its own. And if you want to be your entire hobby, that's fine. But if you want to write a book out of this world, you kind of have to reach a point where it's like, okay, I'm done world building and now I'm going to be writing. So it helps to set, I think, a limit to your world building. And this is where having like a guide or some worksheets can help out, because it's like, I'm building this amount, I'm building these aspects into this level of detail, and then that's it. Then I'm starting to write the book. And then if while you're writing the book, you find out you need to change things or you need more detail, that's fine. You can go back and change it. But you basically set a limit so that you don't do this forever. And then the other half of it is actually putting the world building like on the page so that your world feels immersive and real, but with doing it in a way that does not bore your reader with like endless info dumps. And that is a lot harder. And it's something probably every writer struggles with. And it's something you probably have to do a lot of editing on when you revise your drafts, because we tend to either add too much detail and it becomes boring, or not enough detail and then it's just kind of flat and boring in the other directions. And this is kind of a matter of style and voice, because some authors, they can go heavy with info dumps, like Douglas Adams in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is basically endless info dumps, but they're fun to read because he has a style that works well for that. And then some authors don't do a whole lot of detail. And then, of course, there's everything in between. So this is where you kind of develop your style and your voice and how you handle things, like showing your world building details and your descriptions. So that's just all to say that there's no one right answer to it, and there's no wrong answer to it. But I think a couple things that might help when you're actually writing like your world building details on the page is to do it through character and conflict. So basically, you can show details through a character that your reader cares about. So for example, say your character stares up at a ruin on a hilltop and says, "This was the great watchtower of my people before the fall." Now we know a detail of the world, and we care about it because we care about the character who is experiencing some kind of emotion around that detail. And you can also do it through like character action, like your character tends to fire while talking to a visitor to their house or whatever. And now we know the world probably doesn't have electricity, or at least that section of the world doesn't. And we know like this house has fireplaces and stuff like that. So it gives you a bit of detail just like through what the characters are doing. And you can also do it through conflict, because conflict is the main thing that keeps us reading. So like if your main character and their love interests argue over, I don't know, like which prince will make the best king. Now we know your world is a monarchy. We know there's a question of succession. We know there's political strife. We learn something about the contenders in this political strife. And like, it's more interesting than like just a plain info dump, because two characters who we like or care about are now like at each other's throats about it. And that makes it a lot more interesting. So yeah, so you can show world building on the page without being boring by doing it through character and through conflict. And I hope that is helpful. If you have any other questions or follow-up, you can drop them in the chat and I will take a look in a little bit. So we're going to cover one more question before we start writing. And this one, I think either of us can do this, but I think Candice will take the lead. It is, what would be a better route for a writer to get published, either traditional or self-publishing? And this is a huge topic. We could talk for an hour on this alone, but let's try to keep to like 4 or 5 minutes and see what we can cover. Candice, do you want to start off?
Yeah, so the most important thing is to think about what is your overall goal? What is the reason you're looking to get published? Like, why are you doing this? Why are you looking to have your book published? What's the reason? And one of the things that I kind of always think about is one of my friends who her whole goal is, I want to walk into a bookstore and I want to see my book on the shelf. I want my friends and family to be able to walk into that bookstore and pick that book and buy it. That probably won't happen if you're self-published. It's very rare to get into bookstores if you're self-published. You really need to be traditionally published. So if that physical copy in the bookstore is your dream, you're going to want to go with traditional publishing. On the other hand, with self-publishing, if you don't really care about that physical bookstore experience and you just want your book out for people to read as widely as possible, you might want to go with self-publishing. The caveat here is that there are pluses and minuses to both. With self-publishing, you need to do all the work yourself. So you need to get the cover artist. You need to find your own editors and proofreaders. You need to get the book formatted. You need to actually go through the process of like publishing it. Then you have to do all the marketing. You have to market the book. How are you going to get people to pay attention to your book? How are you going to get eyeballs? How are you going to get sales? Saying that, even if you are traditionally published, you will need to do your own marketing. Publishers do not do a lot of marketing these days, unless you get a huge, like multi-six-figure advance and they really want to push you as like their main book of the year. You're probably going to get like not a lot of support. So you're still going to have to do your own marketing, even if you are traditionally published. So those are kind of my two thoughts. It depends on your goal, what you really, really care about. Yeah, so that's what I think. What do you think, Eva?
And I think some authors, they want to have that level of control where they're responsible for the cover, for the editing, for the blurb. They want a say in all of that, and they want the final say in all of that. In which case, going indie published is a good choice because it's all up to you. Like whatever's in the cover ends up being on the cover, that's up to you. If you go traditionally published, you might not have a lot of say. You might have some say, but in the end, it's going to be up to the publisher. So if you just want to write and send it off to somebody else and let them deal with the business side of things, and you never have to think about covers, blurbs, keywords, all of that, then traditional published. But if you want that level of control, then indie published. And I will also add that it depends on the kind of story you're writing, because there are some genres and some niches that traditional publishers just will not publish. For whatever reason, it's not their thing. They don't think there's a market for it. Often there is actually a market for it, but the traditional publishers are just not doing it. So if you're writing something in a particular trope or genre or niche, and you see that traditional publishers are not putting out books like that, that means they're not buying books like that, which means they're not going to buy yours. So if you want to put out your book, then you have to go indie published in that case.
Yep. That's a really, really good point. There are some genres that publishers just don't really care about, but that still have a really voracious like readership online through like indie publishing.
Yeah. All right. So those are the questions we're answering right now. If you have any more, you can drop them in the comments, and we will go through the comments and give you some answers throughout the next hour or later this evening, but you can drop your questions in the comments. So we are now going to get into the writing portion. We're going to spend about 40 minutes. All of us are going to be writing together on our own projects. So this is basically called body doubling, and it's a way to reduce distractions and increase motivations, because when you see somebody else doing something that you want to do, it becomes easier for you to do it. So it's kind of like peer pressure, but for good, instead of like smoking behind the middle school or whatever you got peer pressured into. So to start off, we are going to each set a goal for the next 40 minutes. Candice, do you want to explain why we do that?
Yes. So I actually host a daily Create O'Clock with a group of people, not just writers. Some are musicians, a bunch of other creatives. And we always start with, what is your goal for this session and what is your why? So what are you hoping to accomplish? So you actually have something to be accountable for. And then what is your why? Why is this important to you? Like, why are we working on this, like, for this hour? So.
Awesome. So everybody can drop your goal into the chat. I think somebody posted a little while ago that they can barely hear us. And if that is the case, I am very sorry. We are writers and not content creators or YouTubers, so we don't have the best microphone setup. But if it's not working at all, we will fix that before the next time. So let's share our goals for the next 40 minutes. Everybody can drop theirs in the comments. I am going to try to, while I'm starting a new chapter, I'm going to try to get halfway through a chapter in the next 40 minutes. May or may not happen, but we'll see. Candice, what are you working on?
I'm actually working on my world building. So I am using Scribe Forge's essential world building blueprint and guide workbook, because I have an urban fantasy series and I got feedback from the editors and the betas saying, this is cool. Like, how does that work? Or what is this? Tell me more. And I was like, I mean, like, it's all in my head, kind of in a jumble, but I really need to take all the world building aspects that are just kind of nebulously floating around in my brain and get it down like on paper, so I have a reference when I start book 2.
Awesome. Okay, and everyone else, drop yours in the chat, and then we are going to get started. I am going to put on some background music. I hope it works. Again, this is our first time, so technology, we're still figuring all this out. If you don't like it, feel free to mute. We will be back around 6:55 to share our progress, to celebrate our progress, and to answer any other questions that you've posted in that time. All right, let's get started. Let's try this music.
I hear it.
Hear it? Perfect.
Awesome.
I am.
There we go. All right. I'm gonna turn this.
Okay, that is time. And I noticed in the comments, some people muted us because the music was annoying. So we will keep that in mind for next time and have different music. So I'm just going to do this so anybody who muted us can see that we are now back. Okay, so I'm doing this so anyone who muted us can see that we're now back. And again, if you're just unmuted us, if you just came back, sorry for the music being repetitive and annoying.
I liked it. I liked the music. I was
it.
like, that's a bop.
Some people found it too annoying because it just kept repeating. So we will find something better next time, or just maybe not do music. But anyway, we are now back. Final wave for everyone who was muted. Welcome back. So how did it go? Let us know in the comments what you accomplished. Even if you only did a little bit, that's still more than you had before 40 minutes ago. So Candice, how did it go?
Let me see if I can move this. Yeah, that's good. It was good. I thought I was ambitious and I thought I could get through like 4 different sections, and I only got halfway through one section. So I was doing the magic system and I got really tripped up at what can be done with magic. And I was like,
everything?
because then the next question was, what cannot be done with magic? What are its limits? And I was like, so then I had to really think about that.
All right. Yeah, you got to figure out the limits. Otherwise, it's just no conflict in your story.
Exactly. But yeah, it really, really made me think about stuff I hadn't thought of before. I thought this would be an easy exercise. I thought I was just putting down the stuff that was already in my head. But this workbook really made me think hardcore about the stuff in my world. So yeah.
Glad it helped. So my goal was to finish half a chapter. I almost finished half a chapter. I'm a couple hundred words short of the approximately halfway mark. So it was productive. Everyone else, share in the comments how you did. Let me just check comments. I have to open another window for that. Comments, where did they go? Let's see, Jody had a page and a half they didn't have earlier. Well done. So everyone else, let us know how it went. 2.33 pages, fantastic. And if you let us know after we've already stopped, that's fine. I'm going to go through and respond to some comments afterwards. If you have any further questions about anything we said, you can also drop those in the comments below, and I'll go through and answer them in the next little while. Also,
somebody asked about historical fiction.
Oh yes, do traditional publishers take historical fiction? I think
so,
they do.
So the question was, historical fiction, is that one of those niche books that traditional publishers don't pick up? Actually, historical fiction is pretty much what you want to do when you want to do traditional publishing. Mm-hmm. I don't actually think there would be a huge market for just historical fiction unless you were able to really niche down into a specific trope or genre, because historical fiction tends to do like really well, like traditionally. So yeah,
I think you can go traditional for that.
Yeah, I would recommend that, at least as like a first go.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't work out, then you can always self-publish it afterwards if you can't get a traditional publisher. Because traditional publishing is also very much about what they think will sell now.
Yeah.
Which maybe your book will sell, maybe just not today. Maybe it will sell a year from now, but traditional publishers are only going to pick up what will sell now, right? So let me just check comments again. So Woodrow did half a page. Congratulations. I think that's it for comments for now. So if you have any other questions, you can drop them in comments. I will go through later. If you have any feedback, and I know some of you already left saying things about the sound and the music, drop those in the comments too. This is, again, our first one. So if there is anything that was helpful, that was not helpful, let us know and we'll adjust for next time. If you want more of these, then again, do let us know so that we know to keep doing them. And the replay will be up. So if you want to go back and have like somebody to body double with while you're writing, you can do that anytime. And I believe that is it.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. Again, I am Eva Delaney of Scribe Forge. You probably already know who Scribe Forge is if you're here. We have Candice Lee, who is a creativity facilitator. If anyone's interested in finding more of you, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Instagram. The handle is candice.lee.creativity, or you can check out my website, candicelee.ca.
Perfect. All right. Thanks everyone for being here. Bye.
Awesome. Bye.
Let me figure out how to end a live stream.
Technology.
So we might be here for an extra minute because this is my first time. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's done.
Let me see. Okay.
I believe it is